Warning, the following audio transmission will forever change your outlook on society. You will no longer believe the narrative. You are about to wake up and see things for what they really are. News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media, @JesterDooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. The website, www.jestersvoice.com. Everywhere on social media, @JesterDooms. I think that's it. Anyway, I hope everybody is having a lovely Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, March 31st. That is 2026, the last day of March, which means tomorrow is April Fool's Day. Did you guys ever pull some good April Fool's Day pranks? I think we all did. You know, we all did like the little cruel little pranks. But I got one that takes the cake, ladies and gentlemen. So years ago, my wife and I, we had purchased our first home, and we didn't know really what a code-enforced cul-de-sac was, or what that entailed, or what it was like. We just saw no HOA, and we're like, oh, that's fantastic. Okay, it's great. So needless to say, after living there for about 6 months, I started having code enforcement show up at my door over random things all the time. Now, mind you, I'm a person that's all about freedom. You know, you can't put the Jester in a cage. He's going to escape. Like I like my freedom. I don't like being told what to do. It's not a thing, right? I am my own person. I have God-given free will to make my own choices and do what I want. And I do not bend or flex to conformity very well. I'm very abrasive to the idea of falling in line and being a good little sheep. That's not who I am at all. And I've learned this more about myself over the years, actually, that I am very not to be cornered, not to be told what to do. I am very abrasive. And it's not a thing where it's not like a defiant thing, like I have to go against what you say. If somebody comes up to me at work and they're like, hey man, I need you to do this today. It's like, oh, okay, no problem. Yes, sir. But when we're telling you what you have to do, we're forcing you into this corner. Oh no. I do not respond well to that shit. I had a coworker come to me and said, I have plans for you for the future. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm an adult. I make my own plans. I don't know what you're planning for me, but I will make my own plans. Thank you very much. I don't like that kind of shit. Anyway, so to get back into this, years ago, we lived in this cul-de-sac, code enforced area. Didn't know what that was, but learned pretty quickly I hated code enforcement. And they would call about things all the time, or they would come to the house all the time like, oh, there's a wheelbarrow in your front yard, or you have a trailer in your driveway, or, this boat trailer here has got to be moved, or, somebody called and complained that you left your gate open. Like, it was always something, right? But mind you, I wasn't doing anything different than any of the other houses we're doing on the block, okay? We had this guy in this group of old fuckers in the town that we lived in that decided to form their own little LLC to file complaints with the code enforcement office. And there was this one little dick cheese Karen man that walked around with a Gilligan's Island hat and would go around with a clipboard about every 5 p.m. looking for violations. And I like never knew who this guy was, never knew what house he lived in, never knew nothing. But he would do this, right? And then one day I actually did have an interaction with him, and it wasn't a pleasant one. But this was after knowing he was the one causing the fuckery and everything else. So I was already very abrasive, and already like, don't fucking come near me, dude. Like, I don't like you. So April Fool's Day rolls around. Mind you, we've been dealing with this asshole. We've been dealing with code enforcement. So my wife, I call my wife just out of the blue. It's on April Fool's Day. Let me think anything about it. I'm just like, yeah. I said, code enforcement was out here again, because it's April Fool's Day. So code enforcement was out here again. They said, your dad needs to get his boat trailer out of here like now. Right. Like they're pissed. I said they were out here again complaining about it. I was like, just letting you know. And that's all it was. That was my April Fool's Day joke. That was my prank, telling my wife that code enforcement was back out at the house for her dad's boat trailer. Right. And my wife took it to an epic level because my wife decided after she hung up the phone with me, she was going to call code enforcement and bitch out the code enforcement officer to coming out to our house yet again. Well, they're shaking in their fucking boots now because they have no record of coming out there. They have no record of a complaint. They have no idea what the fuck my wife is talking about, right? Now, mind you, a few hours has gone by and I've forgotten all about this. Like, I'm on to something else now. My brain did not hang on to that thought very long. So now she's calling me. She goes, hey, I'm on my way home. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, what are we doing for dinner? You know, what's the plan here? What are we doing? She goes, oh, I don't know yet. She goes, oh, I called code enforcement. And I chewed that guy out and he couldn't find a damn record of being out there. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I was like, oh, sweetheart, it was just an April Fool's Day thing. Like, code enforcement wasn't here. And she lost her shit on them, lost her shit on me. And that, like, she took it to the level of being amazing. I had no idea she was going to call the code enforcement office and raise hell with these people. I had no idea that was coming. I figured the best reaction I was going to get was her calling her dad to bitch at him, and that was going to be the highlight of my day. Anyway, best one I've pulled off so far on April Fool's Day. We'll be back right after these messages.
Need a break from reality? Well, sometimes I do too, and the place I go to take that break is the Beans and Weenie Show. You can find the link at linktree.com/BWD crew. The Beans and Weenie Show, where chaos and common sense wage war and you get a front row seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Doom Daily Show. I am your host, Jester Dooms. The email, doomdailyshow@gmail.com. Everywhere on social media at Jester Dooms. I hope y'all are having a fantastic morning. Go to my website, www.jestersvoice.com. Buy an Apocalyptic Apparel t-shirt. Do that. We're dropping some new shirts for Easter for the month of April. So go on there, check them out, get yourself a new t-shirt. They're absolutely fucking awesome. Okay, so go get yourself one. All right. So I do have a news story I do want to get into on today's show, but I have to tell a story about something that happened yesterday that has my blood boiling, like absolutely infuriated. Now, just to preface this conversation, you guys know I'm not one for big corporations anyway. You know this, okay? So, my kids, they earn money from time to time. For those of you that don't know this, we have a couple of restaurants, and the kids go there, they hang out, they might bust some tables, they might they might help out the waitresses, whatever, and they'll get tipped out. They do. They'll get tipped out or whatever. They'll do their little thing. The waitress might be like, thanks for cleaning up these cups here. Here's $1 or whatever. They're not making an income. They're basically just gifted money from the servers they're walking around with throughout the day just because the servers want to make them feel good about what they're doing, right? And it's a very simple thing. One of the perks of having a family business is that, your kids can start to understand what the value of $1 is at a young age, okay? And that's what my kids do. And my kids save their money. They don't blow their money. They save it. Well, yesterday, my son decides that he's got enough. He thinks he has enough money, and he's counting it with my wife, and he thinks he's got enough money to buy a video game. I think it was like $30, 30 something after tax. And my wife says, well, sure, honey, if you want to buy this game, by all means, you can get the game. It's your money. If that's what you want to spend it on, that's okay. It's yours. You earned it, So my son goes into the Walmart. He's all proud. He goes and he wants to buy Fortnite. There's only one Fortnite game on the rack there. So the gentleman comes over with the key in the electronics section. He opens the case. He picks it out. I look at my son. Is that the one you want? He said, yeah. I said, are you sure? He said, yes, that's the one I was looking at. I said, okay, cool. He gets it. He pays the guy cash. He checks out. He gets his receipt. We go out to the car. He opens up the game. There's no game inside. Okay. Upon further inspection, I find out that this is an add-on. It's an extension to a game that he does not possess. And I'm like, okay, well, this is not going to work. We have to return this. It's just a code. We can't use this. It's just a code. There's no game to be played. It's just a code for an extension that we don't have. My son unknowingly made a mistake and picked something out that he thought he could play when it wasn't something he could play. Okay. So we go back into the store. And I go to customer service and I look at this girl, and now I'm already infuriated because we were in Walmart when we first got in there. We went to customer service originally to return on-brand printer ink that was the wrong number. Well, they refused to return it without a receipt because everybody and their mother sells on-brand ink, right? Walmart's the only one that sells this, so why the fuck we would need a receipt to return it is insane. And of course, we paid fucking cash for it, so there's no record of it being swiped with a card. And their whole mentality is, well, we know we're the only ones that sell it, but what if, like, you bought the ink, took it home, exchanged it, and then came back and, you know, you were trying to scam us out of it to get free ink? Well, don't you think if we were thinking of all that, we would have thought to kept the fucking receipt? Like, no, we bought the wrong ink. Nobody thought to keep the receipt because nobody was scamming anybody, you fucking assholes. So, anyway, moving on. I'm already shitty with customer service to start with this trip to Walmart. Okay, I'm already shitty about it. So I go in and I look at the lady in customer service, same one we dealt with earlier. And I said to her, I said, hey, we need to return this. I said, we just bought it. We thought it was a game. It's not a game. There is no game. It's just an add-on. We want to return this. She opens it, looks at it, and says, there's no game in here. And I looked right at her and I said, you're not listening to me, with a more firmer tone of voice, with a little more agitation. I looked at her in the eyes and I said, you're not listening to me. It was at this moment she backed up, looked like she was about to cry because this younger generation does not know what the fuck confrontation is or how to fuck to deal with it. Okay. So she assumed pushes this off on the person next to her. Okay. And says, do you want to take this? And she goes, yeah, I'll take it. She comes over and she goes, what's the problem? And I said, we just bought this. We haven't left the parking lot. My son opened it up to discover there was no game inside. At this point, we realized it was an add-on, not a game. We want to return it because he does not have the game for the add-on. And she goes, there's no game inside. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like ready to just bang my head against the wall. I'm like, listen, there was no game. There was never a game. He thought it was a game. That's why we bought it. There is no game, so we want to return it because it is an add-on. You sold us a code for a game he does not have. It's a downloadable add-on for a game he does not have. There is no game in there. And I had to like pick the package up and show her like, look, add on. It says right there, add on. It's see the code? And I had to explain this whole thing to her. Now, mind you, these fucking morons have no idea. They have no idea what the fuck they're looking at. They're still thinking there's supposed to be a game inside. So they have no clue what they're looking at. Not any logical thought process is happening at all. And then finally, this lady mutters out, well, it's not returnable because it's piracy. And I said, wait, what? She goes, well, copyright. It's a copyright thing. We can't return it. It's a copyright thing. And I said, whoa. It would be a copyright thing if we took it to the parking lot, scanned the code, sold the code, and then returned the game. But even if we did that, that wouldn't fall on a Walmart thing. That would be a federal government thing. Like, that's not on you guys. You don't enforce copyright laws. That's the FBI. That's the federal government who enforces copyright laws, not you. I said, you sold us a code for something we don't have. We need to return this. My son bought this with his own money that he earned, and y'all are burning this little kid out of his money, and you can't tell me why. And then once they realized this copyright bullshit wouldn't work anymore, and I wasn't buying their copyright thing, then they tried to tell me, oh, it's against their policy. Now, my son's watching me have this back and forth with these ass clowns at Walmart for all of 10 minutes before I realize the guy that they sent over to talk to me just so also happens to be their like bullshit security fucking guy. That's like all like his name was fucking Coach Jose. It said Coach Jose on his fucking uniform. Fuck you, Coach Jose. Okay. Coach Jose can eat my ass because he too tried to pull the copyright bullshit on me till he realized that wasn't working and then tried to say it's their policy to not return it. Well, it's my policy to not allow my child to get scammed out of fucking money. It's my fucking policy as a father to teach my kids you keep your receipt, you could return shit if it doesn't work, if it's broke, whatever. Okay, that's my fucking policy to defend my children. That's my fucking policy. So as luck would have it, lo and behold, there's no US-based customer service representatives working for fucking Walmart. They're all in fucking India and they're all fucking named John or somebody, okay? And these ass clowns hold on. Let's back this up for a fucking second. We have Walmarts scattered throughout every fucking state in the U.S., right? Fucking thousands of them, okay? We don't have U.S.-based customer support. What the fuck is happening? This is a company that keeps razor blades locked up and makeup under lock and key for loss prevention. Like this is a company that goes out of their goddamn way to make shopping a pain in the ass and a hassle. This is a company that took away cashier jobs and installed self-checkouts left and fucking right. You're not making enough profit to where you can't have call centers in the US. You have to outsource that shit. And I'm sorry, but like even Walmart's competition is like non-existent. Who does Walmart have for fucking competition? Target? But Targets are few and far between, so not fucking really. I mean, it's absolutely asinine to think that we left the store with the wrong item, never even left the parking lot, had the receipt in hand, paid fucking cash. And my son, who I'm trying to teach the value of $1 to, can't get his money back for buying the wrong fucking item? And these assholes that work in the store are supporting fucking over a little kid out of his money and trying to make up bullshit policy and bullshit excuses? And you expect us to come back to that fucking store and spend money? You're out of your fucking mind. When I walked in there, the printer ink was one thing that threw me for a fucking loop, because I could understand if it was like a regular brand, like an HP brand or you know, like an Epson ink that like is also sold at like Staples or Target or other places. Like I could totally see it. Well, we don't know if you bought it here or not. You don't have a receipt, so we can't return it. Sorry. Walmart's the only brand selling On. That's their fucking brand. We couldn't have bought it anywhere else. Okay, so there's that. But also, I mean, you know, you like one would think like, hey, well, we could give you store credit. Nope, wouldn't even do that. So kind of the big thing here is not just like these shitty scenarios of getting screwed in Walmart in one fucking day, 2 separate occasions, trying to return things we purchased in that fucking store, okay? But it goes back to the principle of the one item we paid cash for, and because of that, they can't return it. And it's like, so they're trying to kill cash with that. Like, that's how you kill cash. Start making cash obso-fucking-lete. Scan your credit card all the time so you have a record of purchases. Use your debit card so it's on file. Why? And I said, you guys could roll back the fucking cameras and see my wife getting this out of the case. It's under lock and fucking key, right? I mean, Jesus, you guys have records of what you sell when you sell it, and there's cameras fucking everywhere. You oh my God, it's fucking horrible. But to go into this fucking store and have my son be so excited about buying something with his own money, just to be given the shaft, having his receipt in hand, gonna return it so he could buy the right game, and to get fucked over like by adults. Do you think I'm not gonna stand up for my son? Do you think that I'm not gonna be in his corner? This poor little kid against the world with his little amount of money that he saved up bussing tables and helping out waitresses to buy a video game that he wanted. And you guys are screwing this kid out of his money. He doesn't even know what the fuck a game add-on is. All he knows is he just had a bad childhood experience of shopping at fucking Walmart. He just had an experience that he's probably going to carry with him for the rest of his life. Like, you probably don't want to buy things from this store, because they're good for not giving you your money back if something goes wrong, or they're good for taking your money. Like that's what his takeaway is going to be. Now, when these corporations are taking us to, you know, when they're raking us over the coals and taking us to the bank for every little fucking cent we have in our pocket and rearranging stores all the time so we get lost in there and end up buying more shit, they're not thinking about the children that are growing up with these experiences. But it doesn't fucking matter, because when they're of shopping age, they're not going to be using Walmart anymore. Everything's going to be digital and online. There's not going to be any need for this shit anymore. And I'm sorry. I think I've always been against Walmart. Like I've hated Walmart for years. And it's just the shit that they've pulled on me over the years, and like little bullshit things that have happened makes me not want to shop at that store. But you're so fucking forced to, because they have everything and they're right fucking there. Right. But it's now coming to the point where I'm just like, where I'm at mentality wise, like I will go out of my way not to shop there. I don't think I'll ever step foot in that store again. I think I'm fucking done. Yesterday, a nerve was struck that cut real fucking deep. And seeing the look in my kid's eyes, knowing that money he had saved up went for something he's not able to use and he can't get his money back, I'm fucking livid. I'm pissed. And the message that this sends to our youth is a very, very, very bad one. Now, I know that there's a lot of these younger people out there, you know, these tree-hugging hippie fuckers that are like very anti-corporation. In some capacities, I understand it, but they also, you know, these young fucking dingleberries also have to understand too, the corporations kind of make the world go around to an extent. But when it comes down to, you know, having this kid damn near in tears in your store and you're like, nope, it's our policy. It's your policy to screw kids out of their money? That's your fucking policy? You got to be shitting me. I don't think there's anything anybody could say to rectify the situation. Even if they would call and say, we made a mistake, I still don't think I'd return to that store. Even if they would call and say, hey, Mr. Dooms, we're sorry, bring your kid in, we're going to give you the money back, and, you know, we apologize, we misread the situation, whatever, it would be different. Like, like, I'd have a different overall thought of, okay, now my son's getting some justification in this, and, you know, he'd get his money back, but I still wouldn't return to the store. And the greeter that's in this particular Walmart, pretty much, you know, we live in a small town. Everybody fucking knows everybody. And as we're walking out, you know, he's saying bye to me again. And I said, hey, man, I said, listen, it's been real good to meet you. But I said, I don't think I'm coming back to the store. I'm done. It's over. I'm done. It's hard enough to survive in this world currently with the cost of things. So between $50 printer ink and my son getting shafted out of his $30 game, to step into a store and leave knowing that we had an $80 loss of shit we can't use or return, it's like, what the fuck? In one day. We all waste money, right? You know, we all waste money. We might order an extra dessert we don't need. We might spend a little extra time just driving around, having fun, burning gas in the car. Or, you know, we might get a wild, harebrained idea like we're going to start jigsaw puzzles and buy a bunch and just waste them and they sit on the shelf. You know, there's always money that's wasted. But we're very conscientious about our spending in my home, and we try to avoid waste. So I don't look at it as we lost $80. I look at it as that was enough money to fill the fucking gas tank, or that was half the phone bill, or that was X amount of time going here, or that was movie tickets for the whole family. That's how I look at it. It's not the money we lost. It's what did we lose? What the fuck did we lose the opportunity to go do? What did they steal away from us? What could we have done with that money? And I think that's why me and my wife do okay financially, and we don't have to worry or struggle as much, because when we're spending money, we're thinking about not the money that's getting spent right then, but like, what is that preventing us from doing? Like, if we spend $300 on something today, what is that taking? What are we going to do next month that's taking us away from? You get what I'm saying? And a lot of dumbasses like this younger generation doesn't think that way. They don't think, shit, I want to go on vacation. Vacation costs $5,000. I better start saving now. No. I don't need to spend this extra $50 here today because vacation's coming up. I need to save for that. Right? I don't know. I had no intention on making this a whole rant against Walmart or the situation. I figured this was going to be a little 5-minute segment I talked about on the show, and then we move on. But here we go, and it's all fucking, like, pretty much ad-free for you guys, too. I don't know how the fuck that happened. Damn, my blood's still boiling. Anyway, you guys, you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Watch out for the April Fool's Day pranks tomorrow. They're coming. You know they are. Beat everybody to the punch. Try to anyway. Producer Scooter, I'm out of here. If you would, hit that button.
News, facts, and opinions. This is the Doom Daily Show.